go button. What? Oh, geez. Now I got to start over again. I apologize here. Deal with a couple things. All right, let's try this again. I hope it's someplace I know where the heck I'm going. All right, here we go. Wow, this fan writes differently when it's heavy. Phone calls. I got people texting me. Can't see very far. Whoa! Can't see very far. Blind corner, blind corner. Here we go. Pull it out. Oh, I can really feel that weight back there. I got like 2,900 pounds on the rear end of this thing. Getting back on the highway here. Hold on a sec. If you're going to ride a motorcycle, have a headlight on it at least. Alrighty, hold on a sec. Getting back on the road. Just whipped into a Wendy's. Do you support Israel? Yes. Next question. All right, I did let everybody know where I'm back on the road. I was supposed to be doing a pickup at 5 o'clock in Collinsville, and they were supposed to be at 5, and you show up early, but a lot of times they show up, and they're usually 95% of the time, they're like, yeah, we're ready. Take it, you can go. And it was, yes, I got loaded, and I walked into this huge factory. I have no idea what they're producing. It's kind of machine part. And while I was in the factory, my phone rings. It was right at noon, and it was the head office calling, and they said, hey, they just called. Can you get there early and pick it up? They're trying to close out that department. I said, gee, I don't know. Yeah, I'm here. So that was kind of cool. And, right, and I, hold on a second here. Oof. And I got my 2 pallets. They're 2 tiny pallets. Went from 1 to 2, and they're tiny, and they actually have them stacked on board. But they weigh almost 2,900 pounds. So I turned around and I tried to go back on here as quick as I could because it was like it wasn't 10 minutes. I was out the door and I couldn't stream. There was no reception. And then I called the wifey poo to let her know what was going on. And then the call dropped like after 20 seconds. There was no phone reception, period, in that area for about the next 40 miles. So, but right now I am on the outskirts of. I should have said absolutely. Well, when they bid this load and I had it, it was 1 pallet at $1,450, and then the next day, all of a sudden, it was 2 pallets at $2,900. And I said, "Oh, so double the money, right?" And I spent a picture of SpongeBob with a big smile on his face, and no, they get the whole truck. Pico communists. So anyway, I am on I-70 right now, westbound, and I am 19 miles from Columbus, Ohio. And I'm going to yank a Ralph and head north from here to Toledo. And the delivery isn't scheduled till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, "That's good. Get there early." He said, "There's no point to it. They don't open till 3 in the morning because it's a weekend. Usually they run 24 hours, but I guess they shut down." So I have some time to waste, which is good because when I get up here in Toledo is where our company has its headquarters. We're down to 1. And I lose people quick. Yeah, Mr. Jeff, is that you? So anyway, our corporate headquarters for this outfit is Toledo, and they have a big old parking lot. They also have access for drivers to go in. But they have showers and washers and dryers and stuff. And I'm also going to change my oil. And Layton, it says, I got attacked by police. How form of terrorism? A form of terrorism, yes, hey Jeff, a form of terrorism is anything the police declare it. And the only thing you are not allowed to film are certain infrastructure facilities, which is, last time I checked, the Panama Canal. So the police saying you can't record buses or you can't record this is a lie and a lawsuit. Anytime you're in public. Oh my God, God call. Anytime, you can record anything you can see in public, and you can record anything you can see from public. So if you're standing in public and you film a building, and they come out and say you can't film our building, yes, you can. So don't lose your sleep over that. And sometimes they'll say, if you're by a hospital, you're violating HIPAA. No, you're not. HIPAA law applies to the person who is handling it, not the person looking at it, even if it's there, which it's not. So yeah, that's just lawsuit stuff. Alrighty, Mr. Jeff. I was just checking out. So I am back on the road. I just ran into a Wendy's. Sue me. I like the Oreo cookie Frosties. And that was the slowest Wendy's I've ever been in my life, as far as how they operated it. These people are coming in here making orders like they're signing up for college or something. It was a relatively new building, and I think the world is changing. But is it against the law to stand in the street and sort of a girl changing in a window as long as you're in the street? I think if it's any form of child pornography, I think you're in trouble, but it's their responsibility to close curtains. But yeah, I wouldn't be filming child pornography. That's not really a good idea. But you have the drive-up window on one side, and I know, going back to the origins of the universe, you can't walk up to a drive-up window if you're going to rob. But the Wendy's has that little trap on the side. The trap on the side, they're putting a little trap door in the trap so you can like walk in there and order that. They won't let you in the store. I mean, that's kind of weird, but that's the way they do it. You're on the east. Oh, you already made it over there. Okay. Did you reposition, or they give you a load? A little scribble in here. Ah, mini convertible. Look at that. Hold on a second here. So I have the opportunity to take a shower, change, do my laundry, and change my oil tonight, which is cool. And it has put me in a really good position. I was talking about this a little bit earlier today, uh, about a woman at the gas station, or the truck stop we were sitting at. And myself and another expediter who's on here said, we saw a woman pull in wearing office clothes. And she got out of her car, popped the hood, and she had the dipstick halfway out and her phone in her hand, which tells you there's some confusion. So we wandered over, and I said, "Hey, what's the deal?" And she said, "Oh, I got a oil light on and a check engine light." I pulled her clean. I had brought my rag, and I cleaned her dipstick and put it back in, and there was nothing showing on the stick. Not low, not high, nothing. It was blank. And I went, ugh. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So she had a oil. I put it in, and it touched the bottom of the stick. And I went, ugh, that's not good. So my thought was the oil plug fell out, which it didn't, because it would be all over the ground. And it's not slung, and it wasn't coming out the tailpipe. So we ended up putting 3 quarts of oil in her car. And she started up, and the check engine light went out, and everything went out. Everything was fine. I'm like, that is so freaking bad. So I told her to go get it looked at a shop, like, now. The heading of this video is called The Tank Range. And it was a story. It was an event that happened to me many years ago when I was in the Army. When I first joined, I was enlisted. I made a video about this a long time ago, but it's so far back. I don't know what happened to it. But when I enlisted in the late 80s or mid 80s, I crewed the M1 tank. and one of the parts of the job was to go out to the tank range and qualification ranges and fire. And a tank range is a few miles long, maybe 4 miles long, and it goes into a mountain. And you kind of drop into a bathtub. I'm going to say it's a half mile wide, a third to a half mile wide with big hills on both tops. But if you come all the way back to the beginning of the range, you're up higher and you can see the range on your left and you can see the range on your right. But once you're into the range, you're caught in the bathtub and you can't see anywhere. And every summer, there was a regular Army units there, but every summer, the Texas National Guard would show up. And it's the 49th Lone Star. And when they showed up, it was always a dumpster fire when they were doing their summertime training. And they had the old M60 tanks. We had the M1s. And when you're on a tank range, what is this guy doing? You don't use service ammunition. You use what's called training ammunition. It's instead of a depleted uranium slug, it was aluminum, much lighter. And when it's lighter slug, you could put a lighter charge behind it. So it makes a big boom and it fires around, but it's not around you and used in combat because it won't penetrate because it's too soft. Hey, Universal, you're back. And we go on the range, and basically you drop down in, and it looks like an air traffic control tower, very flimsy. It's a range control. It's run by civilians. And within the crew, within the tank itself, you talk amongst yourselves. And there's some cords you plug into these boxes. This cord goes here and that cord goes there. It's pretty self-explanatory. But at some point in the past, somebody put the cords on backwards. I don't know how, don't know why, but they put the cords on backwards. And they discovered that if you do that, your conversation is transmitting. So they found that's a way to use, they want to standardize what you do and they want to grade it. So when you're talking amongst the crew and you don't want anybody to hear it, you learn all kinds of gang signs and, tap somebody on the leg with your elbow and all kinds of stuff to make it happen. And they would have a speaker. The people grading you on the range are listening, but there was a speaker so you could listen to what they were doing in the tank as it was, a few hundred yards away doing its thing. And the range control puts these guys down. You stop and you pop up and you fire and you drop back down, or you're driving down a road and you shoot at a target. You're kind of working your way down the range. And you have flags on top of your tank. You have a green on a range. You have a green flag if you're empty, a green and red if you have ammunition but you're not firing, and then you take down the green flag and have a red flag up when you're actively firing going down the range. So the tanks are going down, and he gets down to the bottom of the range, and they start doing their thing, and they're firing, and we're all kind of sitting around under the tree, bored, listening to the conversation. On the range next to us is the 49th Lone Star doing their thing. When the tank is at the top of the range, it goes at what's called ground guide speed, which means you're following a person on foot, and you do not go faster than the person is walking. So that's how you move at the top. Well, this tank goes down to the bottom, is halfway down the range, and the 49th Lone Star has a tank at the top of their range. We're not communicating with them. They're doing their own thing. And he's got the same kind of training ammunition. Well, for some reason that we don't understand, over there, 200-300 yards over there, that 49th Lone Star tank fired a shot at our tank on our range. Not a target, at the tank. Now, a tank target and a tank do not look the same in a thermal sight, but he fires a shot. It was sailing over top of the tank, and we all looked over like, what just happened? Or how did that happen? And one of the guys in the tank that was down there, his name was the guy with the loader's hat. He was from Iowa. His last name is Curry. Everybody goes by their last name. Who just came out? I'll be back I'll be here for a while. Do your thing there, Mr. Jeff. And this guy inside the tank, because you could hear the conversation, goes, "I think someone just shot at us." And he goes, "What?" And then you hear it, because everybody saw this. They come up. Curry was here. His name was Curry. He was a goofy kid. And the shot, flies, and you hear him say that, and then the range control guy on the radio screams, "Ceasefire, all ranges." And then the tank fired a second time, and the round sailed over top real close. And the tank commander, I don't remember who he was, but I remember he said, "Let's get this." He said, "Back up," and you have your the Cadillacs, the gunner's controls. you squeeze a Cadillac and you can aim the gun stabilized. And he tells him to hold the Cadillacs. He goes, turn around, head up range. So when you have a loaded tank, the gun tube is always up and down range unless you're actively firing. So he turns the tank around and he's coming up range. He's been shot at twice, and he's got the gun pointed down range. He's got a red flag and a green flag, right? And they're hauling ass up the road, and the gunner hasn't seen this. He goes, "What's going on?" The driver's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He goes, "I'll explain in a second." And they're going really fast. And we look over at that National Guard tank, and he's still pointed at him. You could see him tracking him. And then the tank commander says, "If that blankety blank shoots at us one more time," and then a round went off, and it missed the tank by the rear. And we're standing up watching this, and the tank commander says to Curry, "Get that blankety blank green flag down." And he reaches up and he grabs the commander's override and swings the gun around and points it down range, drops it, and gives off the fire command to the gunner. "Gunner, Sabo tank." And you hear the loader yell, "Up, gun's loaded." And we're going, "Oh, this is about to get interesting." And he says, "Fire on the way. Booyah!" And that round barfed out of the tube, flew up range, and slammed into the side of the tank turret and bounced off because it's aluminum, right? Tell you what, that got their attention. And that tank hit the top of the range going about 45 miles an hour and did a power slide. And went tearing over onto that range, and you could hear him talking. He reloaded the gun, and he stopped with the gun tube pointed at him. And we got in some of these and raced over there, and the guy was an E5, and he bitched out everybody there, including a lieutenant colonel, up one side and down the other, cussing them out. And our lieutenant colonel showed up, and he just stood back and smiled. He didn't even say anything. And they shut down the ranges. They had a safety stand down on post. The National Guard was kindly asked to leave and come back next year, and an investigation, all kinds of stuff. I don't know how that turned out, but that was pretty wild to observe a tank gunfight in front of yourself, or in front of your face. But I imagine when you slam an aluminum slug going 5,000 feet per second off the side of a metal box, you happen to be sitting in, you'll notice it. And another range adventure we had is Fort Hood. I don't know what's going on there now. I haven't been there in decades, but Fort Hood is an open post, meaning there's cattle wandering around, and there's people coming in and out. And again, I don't know how they do it now. So you would have people on the range at night using thermals, and a tank would park across the street behind you, up higher, and they were the safety people. They were like looking with their thermal sights to make sure there weren't cattle wandering around in the firing range and make sure there weren't any people. And back then, and I don't know today, but back then they had a problem with what are called brass pickers. Those are people that grab those aluminum slugs and the empty shell casings. Those are brass and aluminum. There's money to be made. And people would run around downrange on this huge post and steal that stuff. They also steal generators and whatnot, but random targets. So if you saw them, you call them out, and then somebody would have to get in on a Jeep or something and drive down there, and they would run off. And they'd be gone for a little while. Then they'd go back to firing, and then they would magically reappear. They always came back. And then they shut the range down. The problem is it kept us out in the field longer, and we don't want to be out in the field. It's hot, it's sticky, you're wearing heavy clothes. We want to get done and go back. So people got tired of that stuff. So one night, they're doing firing, and the people kept coming back. And they had a vehicle, like an old pickup truck. You could see it. Thermals picked that stuff up. And these people were driving around down there in a pickup truck. We're talking a couple miles away. And the tank's in the middle of the range, and they went down and ran them off once or twice. And then finally we had enough of that. And the tank that was being safety would get called by range control. What's it look like? And finally they gave up and said, "Oh, it's good. Everything's fine." The Jeep truck was down there, and you could take the gun tube and look down at the tank. It was on the range, and their gun tube was pointed over towards the Jeep. They were seeing the same thing we were seeing at the top. And I wasn't on the gun. I was the tank commander. She just looked into the eyepiece at it. And two people got out of the pickup truck and started walking. And the guys up in the tower can't actually see what's happening downrange. They're just going by what the sensors are telling them. So when the range went hot, the first round out of the cannon hit the truck. And those two guys took off running. And then range control said, "Hey, did you guys observe the shot? Oh yeah, he hit the target. There must be something wrong with the target sensor." Oh, okay. And then they went down and he fired another round. Another target hit the truck again, stuck a big old hole through it. And for the rest of the night, the quote target kept malfunctioning as every other crew that went out on that range put another slug through that vehicle. It eventually rolled over on its side, and they just kept putting rounds through it. It never exploded or burst into flames or anything, but it was Swiss cheese when they got done with it. I don't remember if anything ever came of that, but oh well, don't have your vehicle in an impact area, Good. Okay, I gotta watch my driving here. I gotta get off here in a mile and change. Hmm. So I am getting ready to turn up the little loop around Columbus and then shoot straight up to Toledo. And I can take care of all this stuff, and it's kind of a leisurely schedule. I didn't get my email. A quick question: how many burritos can you eat at once? I don't know how many. People come on here with some pretty good jokes. This better be a good one. So I'm doing the loop around Columbus. We're shooting Toledo. I'm gonna do my oil change. Which, if it's daylight, I'll film that just for fun and put that in my collection. And do my laundry, take a shower, because I got some time to burn. Anybody over there? No. I got 2,900 pounds in this van, which is right at my gross cargo capacity. I could feel it back there. Good God Almighty, can I feel it back there? Trust me, I know what you're saying. Mm. All right, we're on 270 loop ring, whatever this thing is. Which is another reason I was saying I didn't have phone reception at all. Another reason I like to have a dash mounted GPS that uses satellite because it works everywhere. Because there are bits and places you'll travel off the beaten path where you can't use your phone. And if they're having any kind of cell service issue that's not normal, you're going to be out of luck. The satellite's pretty consistent. Here. Uh, something about, well, that was my about navigating. There's been a question about how much money do you make doing this? Weather, well, right. Looks like, yeah, it's showing 90 degrees outside. I had somebody ask me, how do you make money in this business? And there is a way to make $1 million as an expediter, and it's guaranteed to work. So listen up. Here's how you guys do it. Okay, you're going to earn, you want to walk away with $1 million in your pocket, expediting with one van. You ready? Here it is. First step, start with $2 million. When you get to $1 million, bail. There, you've heard it here first. You're not going to get rich doing this job, but you can make a little bit of money to keep the lights on. The other night at that Morgantown pilot, I used the shower, and I talked about saving up your shower credits. If you get in there, the shower area, the whole room in the shower is cleaned between each person. There's a guy, literally, that's his job. And if you go in there and that room is clean and it looks good and you've got your towels laid out and everything's good to go, make sure you find that guy and give him a couple of bucks. I mean, that's a job that nobody wants, but if someone's doing it, they're doing it right, I acknowledge them. I hand him $2 or $3. It depends on what I have. It's just acknowledging he's doing his job. Same when I'm at the airport and I park my car and the bus guy picks you up and delivers you to the terminal and or back to your car. I always give him $2 or $3. Just acknowledge what he's doing. It's not a sexy job. It's not exciting, but you know what? It's a job that needs to be done. And if they're doing it right, acknowledge it. And it usually surprises them when I leave a tip. And if you can't find the person, just leave $2 or $3 on the counter in the bathroom because he's be the next person that goes in there. All right, I'm looking at 270 north. Okay, I'm good right here for now. The drop I did Saturday morning, I had some problems with. Says good morning, greetings from Jakarta, Indonesia. Oh, right on. I were you on here the other day? I get so many names on there I can't remember, but yeah, I had someone from Jakarta here a couple of days ago. I didn't stream yesterday because I wasn't driving. I was just hanging out yesterday. What? Oh, 216 north. So I talked about this earlier today, but when you're getting close to a target, if you have separate navigation equipment in your van, so I have my satellite tracker and I use Waze on my phone. When I'm starting to get real close, I have a tendency to dial it up in both systems because sometimes they don't agree. Then you have to decide which one you believe in. But sometimes it'll be slightly off, maybe a half a mile. Sometimes it'll be a couple blocks. It just depends. But look at which one you're gonna agree. And if you get to one and it's the wrong place or doesn't feel right, try the other one. And the delivery I was doing on Saturday morning, I got to a place. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was a transmission for a truck. Whoa. Well, yeah. Jakarta time. Oh, holy crap! That's why you're saying that. Yeah, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, almost. So you're 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I got this upside down. That's why everybody comes on here late at night from that part of the world. All right, I get it because I'll probably be on here because I got to do a delivery at 3 in the morning because that's when they open. What I'm going to later on today. So I'm gonna go take a nap here in a while. But I was doing that delivery and it was a transmission for a heavy truck, and there were some heavy trucks there, but where I was sitting just didn't feel like this was where they were doing the heavy maintenance. So I got on Google Earth and actually looked at the area because there were a lot of trees I couldn't see very far, and I was able to discover a place that looked a whole lot more likely. And I drove over there, and I was sitting there and started to get light out. And again, it was feeling better, but it wasn't giving me the warm fuzzy of I'm going to be able to drop this off. And while I was sitting there, two cats appeared, two very feral cats, and I feed cats at rest areas and truck stops. Well, I don't know, this wasn't either, but I'm Central Time 1-5 here already. Wow. And these cats saw me when I got out of the van, and they took off running. Out of fear, I'm going to kill them and eat them. And they actually split. One went this way, one went that way. Oh my God! Run as fast as you can until I shook the cat food container, and everybody slammed on the brakes and started coming jogging back towards me, going, "Oh, that guy's got food. Okay, let's forget all that fear." And this came right to me. Didn't even stop. 2 little piles on the concrete farm, and they went to town. They were happy. So that made me feel good to be able to feed some random cats. I was talking with my newfound friend Jeff, the other expediter that I was with at the pilot, and we're discussing. When you're loaded, you're running, you're doing the thing, and then after you do a drop, you want to get another load, obviously, to keep rolling. You want a little off time, but you want to get going. And there's a couple ways to get loads, and there's some guaranteed ways to get a load. One of which is don't be ready. If you're sitting in the driver's seat with the engine running in your hands on the steering wheel, you're not going to get a load. If your van is open up, you've gotten your chair out and you're comfortable and you're cooking something and you just put your clothes in the washing machine, you're going to get a load. And they want you 50 miles away in 9 minutes ago. See, that's the way you get the cargo gods to smile upon you or smite you, depending on how you look at it. Over. That's an exit lane. So I did not get my beloved weekend run, meaning a pickup on a Friday and a drop on a Monday, but I got a pickup on a Friday and a drop on a Saturday morning. So we're kind of doing it. And then late yesterday, I got the call for today, a Sunday pickup with a super early Monday drop. So it was kind of like getting a weekend run. So I'm happy. I have absolutely no complaints. And I get to do my laundry and change my oil. So there, I got that going for me. Your heart is good for feeding those. So, oh, I do. I've been doing that for years. I also stop for turtles. See a turtle try to make his way across the highway or in the highway, I will. I have stopped traffic to pick up a turtle. I'll stop, flip on my flashers, jump out of the van, and grab a turtle, and move him off the street. And people see me when you stop in the middle of traffic and hit your flashers. People get mad until they see the turtle, and then they start smiling. It's kind of amazing a turtle can change people's attitudes towards life. When you run off the road, set a turtle down. If you ever do that, if the turtle is cutting left or right, don't take him back to the right. Finish off the trip in the direction they're going. Geese? Yeah, well, geese can get out of the way. You can feed geese, but they don't need help getting across the street. They can move. The turtle can't move fast enough. I've got a bunch of videos way back in my playlist for moving turtles. I've been doing that for years. I jumped out once, and there was a woman in another car who jumped out. We were both running for the same turtle. So I was like, okay, by like-minded people. And I've got turtles that were so small. I found one. We were at a hospital, going to a doctor's office, and there was a big pond next to the hospital. And I looked down, and I saw movement, and I stopped and got out. And God is my witness, that turtle was the size of a $50. It was so dinky. You can give the okay sign. You could have stuck the turtle in the round part of your fingers. That's how small it was. And I was like, look at this. And he had gotten off the curb and was going towards the lake. But how is a turtle the size of a popcorn fart going to climb up the curb, to go get them? It's not going to happen. So I ran him down there and put him in the water. And I do take a lot of turtles if they're heading towards a water source and they're stuck. I'll pick them up and take them to the water source and drop them in. I'll get them right on the edge of it so they know where it is. But in my lifetime, I've probably pulled 35 turtles out of the road, the middle of the road, or getting on the road. I will always stop for it. And the cats at truck stops are kind of common, and they'll do an ambush tactic. They'll take a young one, will come up and be all pretty at you, and you give it food, then all his buddies will come rolling in behind him. You'll have 8 or 10 of them at a time. That's happened to me more than once. But I'll do it. Cat food's cheap. They wow. Yeah, barn cats are cool. At my house we have 2 cats, and the difference between a cat and a dog is a dog has an owner and cats have staff. And you can pick your dog, but your cat has to pick you. And we live in a townhouse, and looking out the back door, there was this is like 7, 8 years ago, there was this black cat, and we have like a courtyard in the back, and a black cat went by, and it would see us and run. Well, we put a little food bowl out there, and it would stop to eat the food. But if we would look at it, literally look out the window and run. Well, eventually it got used to us looking at it. Don't you dare open the window. But we opened the sliding glass door, and the cat would run. Then the cat would let us step outside, and then it would run. And then it got to where it wouldn't let you get near it, but it would stay in the yard if they thought there was food involved, which there was. And then one night I was sitting in the yard. It was dark outside, and I was making phone calls, and I was sitting on our little table and chair out there. I hear a cat meowing, and that's something you discover really quick about black cats. They're invisible in the dark. I can hear the meowing, and I'm looking around. It's coming from someplace, but I can't see anybody. And then the cat started rubbing my leg. I was like, okay. And I reached down and I scratched it. I guess it decided after 2 weeks that I wasn't going to eat it, at least not that week. And I'm rubbing its head. I opened the door, and the cat walked in the house. And I said, hey, wifey, can you check this out? The cat walked past, looked at the wife, walked into the kitchen, checked the place out, went upstairs, was gone for about 5 minutes, came back downstairs, walked over, got on the couch, and curled up in a ball. That was 7 years ago. I said, I think we have a cat. Yeah, we have a cat now. And that cat, you could open the door and go, you want to go out? And the cat's like, up yours, buddy. Cat's, I'm staying in here. We've had that cat, I think, a good 7 years. And then about a year and a half ago, another cat started loitering. A totally different looking, super fluffy cat started hanging out in the yard, and its fur was really fluffy, but the fur was stiff. It was almost like wiry, weird. And we fed it one time, and it was like, "Oh, you're cool." It came in the house, and our first cat was looking around, going, "Who's this? And what are you doing in my house?" And they got to where they could understand each other. Now they hang out together, and the as we fed it and took care of it, the fur went to fluffy again. It wasn't that wiry feeling. I don't know what causes that. So we have two cats, and they do what cats do. They hang out, they fight, they play, they punch each other in the face, they run around the house loose, they fall asleep, they sit in the windowsills. They're content. They're totally entertaining for each other. But that's our cats. My crazy wife wants a dog, but we don't have the ability to take care of a dog. We don't have any room for it. But cats are the cats are cool. They also treat us like furniture at night when you're sleeping. They just walk over you like, oh, you're just in the way. Ugh. We like our cats. They're cool. We have this is the name of my channel is called Three Legs In, and that came from the second cat. We have my wife bought one of those fancy cat boxes that's electrical. It's like a tube. You get in it, the cat does their business. A light comes on, they leave, and like a minute later, the box turns over, filters out the unused litter, and drops the clumps in the bottom. But we took the old box out, put that in, and the cats are looking at it like, "What's this thing? Why is this here? What is this?" And they were very nervous for some reason of it. And then our first cat's name was Lucy, Lucy Beans, and the second cat's name is Two because it was the second one. So Two goes over and kind of slowly sticks her head in, and kind of looks around, like not sure what this is. Got one paw in, and got the other, and kind of halfway into the container, into the litter, the cat box. So the cat's half in, half out, and then pulled in the third leg, and the right leg was stretched as far as it could possibly be and touching the ground. I mean, awkwardly stretched, like that was somehow safe as long as that one leg was out. So I said, "Oh, you're 3 legs in, huh? Not fully committed, but involved, but not completely convinced that if you have this one leg stretched to the absolute maximum with your toes touching the ground, somehow you're safe." Sirachua that got when we were living in the city. We will cross this bridge and follow the retrievers. The house for life. So yeah, that that's cool. I like dogs. I really do. We just don't have the ability to have one. And this week, later on this week, I'm going to be at the family farm in New York with the wife, and my cousin has a dog, a golden retriever that never gets tired of chasing the ball. You can sit there and it's a farm. You've got room, and there's a downhill slope, so you could throw it, and it gets a good distance, and that dog will run 100 miles an hour, grab that whatever, and come back, give it to you, throw it again. You'll be out there for hours, and the dog never gets tired. You simply cannot throw that ball enough times for that dog. I will film that, and I'll show it to you. It's absolutely insane, because I was there a couple of months ago playing with it. It's like, "Don't you get tired, weirdo?" Oh, and it likes stuffed animals. They don't have any little kids in the house, but it likes to play with stuffed animals. And I fear the day some little kid shows up with a stuffed animal, because it's going to think it's the dog owns it. There's going to be a battle. I got a turn coming in here in a second. Uh, yeah, the guy I was hanging out with at the pilot, another expediter, he's on here. He's got his own channel going now. He'll come back here in a minute. He wanted to start, and I kind of told him, how you do it, how you get a channel, and how you present it, and stuff like that. And it was kind of fun talking to him. I think he calls himself Expedited Adventures. I'll get the name here in a minute when he comes back. Hold on, I gotta move. Am I good here? Nope, I gotta move over. Are you coming over? You better not come over. If you come over, I'll tell my mother. Not shut up, dumb. Hold on here. Yeah, I got my air conditioner out last night when I was at the truck stop. It's got real humid in Morgantown last night. All of a sudden, it was bad during the day, but once it started getting cooling off, the humidity went up. So I plug in my air conditioner. It's sitting on the seat, run the vent out the window, and kind of stuff some whatnot in the window. Exit 23. That's me. And get plug the generator, fire it up, and it cools off and it dehumidifies. Well, about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, it started getting humid in the room, in the van a little bit. It's so cold, but I can feel the humidity, which is weird. And I'm going, well, this isn't right. I look, all my windows are closed. My little plug in the glass next to the vent didn't fall. I'm like, whatever. So finally, I got up and I jumped outside and I found out why. It was about 9,000% humidity outside. Let's see, I got a 1-2. Okay, into the right lane. Whoa, I can't do that right here. Sorry, talking to myself. That's why is you can only overcome so much humidity, and it was at its limit because it was wet outside, which is weird because it wasn't wet during the day, but at night, holy crap! It's like putting on a wet blanket. Delaware 23 local, south, north. I'm going to, all right, slow down. Hold on here, slow down. Ooh, I can feel that weight. 2,900 pounds. I can feel it. Remember, this is only a van. This isn't a big truck. So I am turning on this. I think I've been on this road before. It goes up here for a while, and then it breaks out of town, and we get rolling again. Ooh. Uh, I watched a video earlier today by a guy talking about his electric bill. He says, I think I'm paying for my electric bill, my light bill, and the daylight, and the moonlight, and the light at the end of the tunnel, possibly the northern light, and the check engine light, and any bright ideas I've ever had. And another woman said, we've got super efficient houses, Energy Star appliances, LED lights. Has your electric bill gone down? Mine neither. Siget Penniker. Siget Penniker. I'm trying to reach real small print on my screen. How you doing? Where's everybody from? I'm always curious where people originate from. 110 degrees? That's pretty good. It's only 89 here. 115. Where are you for that kind of heat? I grew up in Colorado where it's bone dry, and it might get as high as 85 degrees in the summer, but it's dry, so it's not uncomfortable. And the split second, everybody lives on the Front Range, the split second the sun goes down behind the mountains, the temperature drops to 65 almost instantly. And then it cools off at night. So in Colorado, how you air condition your home is you open your windows when the sun goes down, and because the air is not heavy, it'll circulate through your house. And then when you get up in the morning, close your windows, and your house is cold. You could buy, this is 40 years ago, you could buy $1 million home with no air conditioner in it. However, with high humidity, even, oh yeah. Like I said, I live by Houston. I understand that. And it gets hot, sticky in Houston, real nasty in the summer. And I thought it was bad. And here, a few months ago, I did a load to Mississippi and at East Central Oklahoma. Okay, I went to Mississippi, and it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was like you put on a jacket made of hot water. You could almost feel the air with your hands. I had a fish swim over my head. Think about that. A fish swimming through the sky. You weren't there. You don't know. East Central Oklahoma. Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I forget sometimes where people are from because I have different people popping up on here. Had a guy from India on here the other day. I was driving through. I left Nebraska and I cut through Missouri, and he was looking at the scenery, and he was entertained by the highways because they don't have highways like that in India with the trees, and it's all wide open, and there was fog, kind of some low fog. It looked pretty cool. This is U.S. Highway 23. Why we have traffic lights, I don't know, but this is where it's routing me. I'm going straight northbound. Let's see, 182, 244. So oil change, throw the clothes in the wash, jump in the shower. I'm gonna have to get gas at some point. And the delivery is at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you cannot deliver it early because they open at 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of these car manufacturers around Detroit run 24 hours a day. They don't shut the factory down. But whatever this company is, apparently they close on the weekends, but they're back in business at 3 a.m. Hate to be on that schedule. You know, dude, you can go the speed limit. Nobody will yell at you. Or you could go slower than the speed limit. Take your time. Take your time. Thank you. Some people's kids. The freakiest drop I ever made in the whole time I've been an expediter. I had a load. I went to Bath, really, winning solar panels or electric firewall last month hired. Get an electrician. This is my advice. I looked into that, and they say you got to have sun to make the panel work, and you got to have wind to make the fan blow. My advice. This is just me talking. A windmill turns and generates electricity. The windmill is moving around. A solar panel lays there on the ground and does nothing. It doesn't move. There's no moving parts. It can't break. Oh, come on, man! Stop! The fan can't. I mean, the solar panel can't really break. It just lays dormant. Solar, because I have solar panels in this van I use to charge my phone. Solar panels work when it's a beautiful sunny day, and solar panels work when the clouds are out. It doesn't matter. It always works. As far as the windmill goes, my advice is, have you ever seen those little tiny windmills they have on sailboats? The motor looks like the size of your fist, and it's got like 10 or 12 really long, skinny blades. If you look at one of those sideways, it'll start turning. The slightest little breeze, and if you look on it, if you shop for them, they'll be 400 watt, 600 watt, and they're only like $200 or $150. They're not that expensive, and you could literally wire those into one circuit together, plug it into your house, and put those in your yard wherever you wanted. If the weather turns crappy, you can pick them up, bring them inside because they're tiny. If it's going to be an ice storm, it's going to be a snowstorm, you can move them. If they break, they're cheap. If you have the one big one, and it breaks, it's expensive. So my advice is to start with solar panels, because you can attach a string of them together, and depending on how you're going to mount them, because I did a bunch of research on this, somebody will say, "Oh, this panel is the most powerful panel per square inch of any panel on the market," and then over here's one that costs a whole lot less money, but the panel's 5% bigger. Like, who cares? If you have a yard and you have a lot of real estate to lay them out, don't go buy the most expensive thing on the market, because you don't need it. If you are forcibly restricted to real estate, like a roof or a small area, and then go for that. The one place that every single solar panel installing outfit cuts corners on is the mounting. They usually don't put it on a good mount or good hardware, so you have to be real particular about that. You got to watch out, but do some research and find a company that will come do an install. I've got a buddy lives in Glendale, Arizona, and he lives in a house in a residential neighborhood. And I don't know who the company is. There's probably a million of them out there to do this, but he had a good company came in and put panels on his house, and they financed it. It cost him $53 a month for 20 years, but it saved him over $100 a month on his electric bill. So he's winning already. So you pay them 50, save 50, save another 50, he wins. So there's that option. But it depends on your layout. Do you have a house, a condo? What do you live in? What is your actual setup? When I bought my townhouse, I started on the top and worked my way down. We put in a brand new air conditioner. We also got there's gonna be traffic lights around here. We got the air conditioner and we got the thing that blows insulation. We went up in the attic and made it rain. Now, in your house, since we have been doing our research. All right, cool. Look, wait a minute, here we go. All right, good. Inside a house, there's two things. I learned this from a guy in the air conditioning business years ago. In your house, look up at the ceiling. You see the air conditioner vents that look kind of like the size of a shoebox. And then you got the little bitty ones like in the bathroom that's like half size. The big ones move 100 cubic feet of air, I think, per minute, not per hour, per minute. The little ones move 50 cubic feet of air per minute. Okay? Walk around your house and count and do the math. 1, 2, 250, 350, 450, 500, 600, 700, so count. You have 1,600 square feet of vent. You live in a 2,000 square foot house. You don't have enough air conditioner vents. You need to add one. It's that easy. The air conditioner return. If you grab the filter while the air conditioner is running, pull the filter out and let it go, and it sounds like you're trying to chop somebody's head off. You know what I mean? The filter is bent, it's being pulled. Your air conditioner is gasping for breath. And you cannot make an air conditioner breathe too well. My townhouse has the AC on the second floor. It has a 16 by 24 return vent. And we went directly above it, cut another hole in the wall, stuck in a second 16 by 24-inch vent, and now we run two filters. When I moved in 2013, with all the stuff we had done to the house, I contacted the electric company and said, what was the bill? And the guy's bill over the last 12 months was anywhere from $139 to $300. And our bill fluctuates from $70 to about $112 during the year by doing those things. There are so many little things you can do. Changing your light bulbs, going to LED bulbs, get rid of the old school bulbs. Double pane windows make a big difference. If you're trying to keep the heat out, if the sun's coming up on the side of the house where the sun is beating down, don't let the sun come in. Close the curtains on that side because the sun coming in heats the room. Days store, what's up? What's up? We are currently getting our butts kicked in traffic lights trying to get up Highway 23 here in Ohio. And we're trying to get up towards Toledo here to do a little bit of maintenance and some stuff. My ultimate destination is 3 o'clock in the morning in Maryville. Maryville? Yeah, Maryville. North of Detroit, almost when you hit the water, if you look on the map. And I have two little pallets stacked that weigh almost 2,900 pounds. Terry had hit months. Cool. Yeah. The more you have, and also return vents. If you don't have enough return vents, you go as far as you can from the air conditioner unit, the far back part of the house, and add a return vent way back there in the corner. That has a tendency to help. I would love to get out behind this truck, but there's a wall of cars in the right lane. That guy shouldn't be in this lane. Hold on, I'm trying to drive here. Aha! You left me an opening, sucker. Please tell me we're about to run out of traffic lights. changed all the bulbs in the house till good. The first time, the first time I changed when the fluorescent bulbs came out, I waited till the cycle on the lights happened, and I changed all the regular bulbs to the pigtails, and my bill went down $19 the next month. Just for gimmicks. I just want to try it out. Outside of our house, we don't have like traditional porch lights. We have the ones that solar charge and they're motion sensor, so we don't waste any power outside the house. Just little things. Nickels and dimes, nickels and dimes. Oh, and don't use those throwaway green filters. Spend a little bit of money. Anything but those cheapy ones, because those really don't do anything. They literally don't do anything. Don't buy the throwaway 90-cent filters. Spend $4 or $5 on each one of them. Makes a difference. Oh, come on, we got to get back on the highway. I want to drive faster. Sorry, I'm trying to watch the screen and I'm trying to look out the window here because we're kind of well, we have 7 washer dryer, dishwasher always on. Understood. Do you have a water heater or one of those on-demand water heaters? Gets us, and we cool in a hot tub. That's cool. Uh, Water heaters, they make a blanket for it, and they make that insulated tubing that you put over the lines to it, because as soon as the water leaves the water heater, it starts cooling off. So if you insulate the lines, the exit lines, it's a nickel and dime thing, but it also helps, gives you a little more, makes the heat last a little bit better. Double and triple pane windows. It depends on how old your house is. Back in the day, houses used to have single pane glass was just standard, and a lot of older houses still have it. That's something that makes a difference. Our house has the regular door and then it has a big heavy glass door, and we bought a fancy one with a lock, and it's got the super the what's it called? The EV rating on the glass was super heavy. I think the door cost like $900. I mean, it wasn't cheap. As a full in a hot tub, we got good filters and have asthma and dust and a big thing. Good, good. That's good that you do. That's important. That's good. You're taking care of that. Every once in a while, have a. We got on a service plan with an AC company, and we pay them. Is that guy really gonna? Yes, he is. I think we pay like $125 a year or something, and he comes out twice a year, and it's a discount if we need services. And they clean the filters, the air conditioner, the compressor outside. There is a chemical. It's in a spray can. You turn the air conditioner off. You go out there, and it looks like almost like a paint can, and you spray your fins on the air conditioner, and the spray is white, and it hits the air conditioner, and it's white, and then 30 seconds later, it's black. It's like absorbs all the schmegma on the vents. Cameras, make sure you have window mostly double. Good. You got your house set up right. But have an air conditioner guy come out, evaluate, and clean the compressor outside. That's important because all that air is going through those coolant fins, and it gets corrosion as time goes on. So if you have that spray, they hit it and they rinse it off, it makes your air conditioner outside more efficient. And most people don't ever do that. I mean, in the course of their life, they don't pay attention to it. But you got the window guy. Again, if you're bored, we went to Lowe's and you actually rent a machine and you run the hose up in your attic, and you have one family member up there holding the hose and one outside where you cut these insulation bales in half, and you throw them in, and there's like boat paddles in there, and it bangs it up, and there's a fan in there blowing, and it shoots it down the hose, and you can just make it rain in the attic. Ouch. Says we just accept that the electric is about as much as a car. Ouch. Ouch. But try the nickel and dime stuff. But yeah, if you everybody talks about solar panels and attaching it to batteries, or you're charging batteries. I put solar panel to me, you plug it directly into your power box. However, that's done. I don't know how they do it, but actually plug it into your power box and let it supplement what you're doing. That guy's dragging his bumper worse than me. Okay, please let us get out of town. I don't want to drive in town anymore. Oh, crap. Okay, joke's over. We're back on the interstate. Okay, you get it serviced, so he's looking for that. That's good. So you're covering the bases. How big of a house do you live? You're like an aircraft hangar or something? That's why are we in traffic lights? Mildly annoying. 5:15, 4:30. I don't know time zone it again. Do. In front of this guy for a second. All right, real quick. Here is a larger version of the fan I was talking about. Check it out. Other side of the trees here. That's the kind you see on sailboats right there. That thing. I'm talking about those that are small. You could put out, you could control it. You could go out and literally stick them in your yard on a spike and just go out and set up 3 or 4 of them and attach them to your power box, however, and let it go. The reason to use battery is to use utility during low. Understood. But only thing you're really going to be able to do with batteries is run lights. I mean, there's not enough amperage behind her to run an appliance, I think. I don't think there's enough longevity to it to, let's say, run your dishwasher. I mean, I get that. But, oh, hold on. There we go. Oh, did we get out? I mean, you could also, obviously you can throw a battery or two on there, but mainly I would just run the power directly into your power box. Okay, let's see if it's going to let us get. Gonna make it? Ha, ha, ha! Made the light. Yeah, and you would probably have to have a backup generator. I have a little generator here in my van I use to run my air conditioner. Yeah, if you're far enough out, I understand that. There is a law in the books that says if you're attached to the city and you're generating electricity and you're generating more electricity than you're using, they have to buy it back from you. Now, I don't know what the rate is, but the city has to buy it. And I watched a guy in Colorado. He lived in Grand Junction, and he had a huge solar array on the side of his house of 8.5 gigawatts or whatever it was. And he put it in service, and it was an old school meter, the mechanical meter. And he put it in, and he pushed it. And he went online, and the meter slowed down, and stopped. And then the meter started going backwards. So all day long, he was banking up energy. And then at night, when it got dark and it went out, the meter started going forwards again. And then in the morning, the meter started going backwards again. He was basically rewinding the clock all day long. And it was kind of a fascinating thing. But now everybody has digital meters, and I don't know how digital meters work. I don't know if I'm going to drive around a corner and meet a red light up here. I don't know what's going on. Around the corner, looking around the corner. This, in case anybody's wondering, we are over on top of the town of Delaware, Ohio right now, northbound towards Toledo. Oof. Let's see here. Some guy was saying online this morning that his ex-wife got run over by a bus, and he goes, "In other news, I got fired from my job driving a bus." Okay, kind of makes sense. Well, traffic lights come. Eco communist. Yeah, my friend Jeff has his new page up. It's called Expedited Journey. He just started today. If people would be willing to go over there and give him some love, that'd be great. It feels good when you start out. But it's called Expedited Journey. He does the same work I do. He's an independent guy, so he doesn't work for a company, which is kind of cool that he's got it figured out. But he is into what you and I would call frisbee golf, but it's what they call disc golf. And I never really paid that much attention to it. I just thought it was a bunch of dudes with frisbees running around. And he actually had a bag of these discs in his van, and there was like 30 of them in there. And he started handing them to me and looking at them. They're a little smaller than a frisbee, and they're just like golf clubs. This is a driver, this is a chip shot, this is a putter. And I'm like, who figured this out? That aerodynamically, this design will fly further. This is shorter range, but you can make it land where you want to. And the putter is made out of a material. The hole is it's like a bunch of change over a bucket, and you hit it drops down, and it's made out of a material that will stick to the chain versus bounce off the chain. And it was really interesting to watch him explain how this stuff works. So you go out on these set up kind of like fairways, and they put their targets in the trees, and you're throwing what to you and I is a frisbee, but to them is a disc. And he said there's people out there that can make some of these discs fly 400 and 500 feet, which is insane. But he plays a sport, and you go, well, what's the point? The point is he gets to spend time with his kids, and they get outdoors, and they get some exercise, and they get some fresh air, and they're not just sitting there playing on their phone. They're out there doing something. I really respect that. And he has videos of himself and his daughter, who's like 16, 17. He's and I kind of enjoy that. And he's very into it. He's very animated about it. And he has one of his playlists about disc golf, as it's called. I think it's kind of interesting if you're into that kind of stuff to watch. But he's shooting videos like I'm shooting videos, and he's out of the Carolinas. And he's kind of doing what I'm doing. We talked about it. I kind of got him set up on how to do your channel and how to get your YouTube studio stuff. I'm not a techie person. He is, so he picked it up almost immediately. Well, we'll probably next time have our open water. Was that a police car? No. Whoops. I'm getting rid of the power couple. Yeah, you got no complaints. You're not going to get any arguments out of me over getting rid of the power couple. I'm in a townhouse. So we share a building with other people. We don't really have the ability to branch off and do our own thing. We can't mount solar panels anywhere. You can't mess with the roof line. There's all kinds of rules. And we're in a co-op, so we can't go pick our own power company. So that sucks. But we don't really burn that much power, and I use panels. I've got a whole bunch of panels here. When I get set somewhere, I'll open the back doors and I'll put the panel on the ground, and I've got a really long USB, and I'll run that up here into the van. Ooh, a rail bridge. Does it say the height? No. That's dangerous. I was close. Couldn't fit all your toys in your RV. Had to bring a triple axle trailer. Everybody, we have a Kia Sport. Looks like we're losing our stream here. It keeps cutting out. If it goes out again, I'm gonna have to pull the plug. I apologize for that. But we dropped the stream a minute ago. It's going out. I lost all my data. I don't know what was on there. Anyway, I save aluminum religiously, and aluminum is the perfect metal because you can recycle it 1,000 times and it makes no difference. Whereas the other metals, you can only recycle a few times. So at this point in history, my wife and I do it constantly. Out here on the road, I have nowhere to recycle anything. So I get my little bags going and they go into a rest area and they'll sometimes have a recycle bin just for recyclables and I'll throw our stuff in there. And I kind of like doing that. Trying to go around this guy. The 1 year the wife and I kept records, we recycled 1,400 pounds, 1,460 pounds of aluminum in 1 year. I call it doing our part. I don't know how long this is going to last before it starts traffic like that. Oh, uh, we had an old forest property, 23. Are going to take 2 weeks to get it fixed up. That's cool. Is that your retirement home you're looking for? Your last house? So this is the farmland of Ohio right here. We got corn to the right and something growing to the left. I don't know what it is. I don't have a clue what that is. It's about thigh high, whatever it is, dense. This got us, well, at least we're not going through traffic lights, so we got that going for us right now. Whoa. Yep, I can feel that weight. It's bouncing back there. So like I said, no later than absolute last second I can get to building. It's going to be Thursday, and I'm very fortunate that tomorrow morning, I'm going to be north of Detroit, and Detroit is the mecca. Detroit, Toledo, that area, Dearborn, that's pretty much the mecca for expediting. So I can get some runs back and forth. And for some reason, there's a bunch of stuff going to Cleveland. All kinds of cargo goes to Cleveland. I don't know what's going on in Cleveland, but they get all kinds of stuff. So I'm hoping at the latest I can get a run to Cleveland because that's about 100 miles from where I need to be on Thursday. So that would work out. Then I go out of service for a few days. I will film what's going on up there. Yeah, there's the flag. That's why we're getting pushed through the crosswind. We'll do a little filming up there and have some fun. The trains are directly across the street, 3 sets of tracks from the family farm. And my wife loves trains, so I think she's really going to enjoy herself being up there. Being able to sleep with the trains going by is going to be great. Whoa, 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 whoa. Next town is Marion. Oh, green light. Hold on a second. I don't want to slam on the brakes. Oh, thank God. Okay, good. Close. Husband turned 40. I run the house, the farm, homestead, kid, homeschool the kids, and where's that? Okay. There's a YouTube channel called The Pioneer Woman that my wife used to watch a long time ago. And she talks about all kinds of stuff about living out in the country and whatnot. And there was another woman living in Nevada in the middle of nowhere, and she tried to find a way to make money. She sells tumbleweed. Again, she sells tumbleweeds in a box around the world. Unlimited inventory. Just walk outside, puts them in a box, mails them overseas. People in the Middle East love tumbleweeds. And you thought you'd heard it all. Yeah, my wife and I are both 57, and our goal is to retire at 62. And we don't have our firm plan set, but we're going to expatriate. We're going to pack up and leave. So since I don't fly anymore, this is my job until 62. I got 5 years to go. There's not a lot of money in this, but it's relaxing, and I get to see lots of places, and I get to play on YouTube. I lost my feed that I got going earlier, and I don't know. I get tired from the Army, 14, and now have been itching. Finally buy a property for your retirement. Yeah, that's cool. I had actually planned on retiring from the Army. It would have been in '06, but Bill Clinton got elected, and I got thrown out of my rear end. So that didn't work out. But yeah, that was my plan. Did the Army thing. What did your husband do in the Army? Out of curiosity. My last job in the Army was I flew the old AH-1 Cobra attack helicopter. My MOS was 152 Golf, which no longer exists because the Cobra has been 100% pushed out of service. National Guard units don't even have it. We were both we were both 63 Bravos, wheeled vehicle mechanic. Oh, a wrench. Gotcha. I was a 19 kilo, a tanker, and then a 152 Golf. 153 Golf? 153 Golf. Wheeled vehicle mechanics. You got wheeled vehicle and track vehicle mechanics. At least you weren't 11 bang, right? So you guys met in the Army? That's kind of cool. That's unusual. On the left and the right, there's more of that stuff that's not, I don't even know what that is. It's not the water, it's too small. Something. Oh, you didn't? You just both happen to be 63 Bravos? I'm going to bail off here. My feet seems to be faltering because I think I'm in the middle of nowhere. I think I'm going to come back on this evening because I'm going to be driving at night, and I like filming at night when I head up to Maryville. So I'm going to go through Toledo. I'm going to be in Toledo for quite a while today, and then I'm going to go through Detroit at night. That's the plan. I'm going to bail off here for now, but I'll catch up with everybody later.